Hey guys, J.R. Raymond here, back at the TurboTech Training Center in Chesterfield, Michigan. Let's talk a little bit about the biggest complaint that seems to be going around social media today, and that is urethane. People seem to love it and hate it at the same time. A lot of it is because when you follow urethane, when you go from one pair to another and somebody's using urethane, it seems to take away the oil in the front part of the lane and move it down lane quite a bit, which then makes your reactive resin ball use up energy in the front and then do nothing down lane, so it's hard to get your ball to go through the pins. You see an awful lot of flat 10s and swisher 7s and stuff like that. So what do we do to combat that? Well, you could either, if you can't beat them, just join them and grab urethane yourself. But if you're one of those guys who needs the reactive because you don't have a ton of hand like me, you've got to find other ways to get around it. So what do? So this pitter that I'm bowling on right now, I used an awful lot of urethane with the purple and the black hammer, throwing it around 16, 17 to about 8. Struck for a while, and then I started to leave some flat 10 pins with it. So what's the move from there? That seems to be the issue, is when we start leaving those flat 10 pins, how do we move, how do we adjust to start getting them out, and how much do we move with a reactive ball? So usually the common move is to just grab a stronger reactive ball and try to stay in the same area and see what happens. So usually what happens there is your ball pushes down lane a little too far and you plaque 10, and then so we got to make a move. So let me see if I can't get this ball to do that right now. Yeah, so you got your plaque 10 right there from all that oil being down lane. So how do we get the 10 out? The biggest mistake people make is they then try to get their hand around it to try to get it to jerk more down lane. Well, no matter what you do with a bowling ball, you're not going to get it to come off of oil down lane, with the exception of, you can a little bit, but it's not going to make a big enough difference to get through the pins most times. So what you want to try to do is either go around it or get in of it, stay left of it. So the easier thing is to probably just go around it. So I would move my feet a bunch to the left, maybe not a bunch, but let's say I'll probably move like 7 left. I'll get my hand around it and go around that spot, try to get it to about 6 or 7 instead of that 8, 9 area, and see if we can't get the stronger reactive ball to go through the pins. Big difference there. So as you see, I tried to play that tighter line where I was with the urethane with a stronger ball, and it still doesn't go through the pins. That seems to be a pretty common mistake. I used to make that mistake all the time, especially when you go out on tour. They seem to break down like that real fast. They get to this point where they hook in the front and then they're super tight down lane, almost like the lanes are oiled backwards. So it's hard to get your ball to go through the pins. So you see a lot of guys, you see Don Barrett, Tommy Jones, Bill O'Neill, those guys, they're standing. That's why they get forced so far left so fast, is because they got to throw it to the right and get it to come off of it from a further spot to the right, rather than trying to play such tight angles. And that's the only way to seem to get your ball to go through the pins. So higher tilt has been one of those things that have been successful lately. And that's why you see a lot of guys who are super, super good, like those guys I mentioned, Andrew Anderson, EJ Tackett, Jason Belmonte, and the list goes on. These guys know how to get their ball to go through the pins, whereas guys like me, we're kind of just learning, but this is a good demonstration to show you exactly how that works. So the next time you run into urethane, see if you can't get your ball to go around where the urethane spots are, rather than trying to fight it with a stronger ball in there or trying to use urethane yourself. See if that helps you. If not, you can yell at me later. That's okay. Take care, guys. We'll see you later.